Hello everybody, Inti back again with another video. Alright, my tennis fans all around the world. Today's video is going to be about Carlos Alcaraz, Sinner, the two dominant forces in tennis, the alpha hands of tennis, the world number one Sinner and the world number two Carlos Alcaraz, who has won the last 7 Grand Slam titles together, 4 in the 2024 season, 2 Grand Slam titles each. Carlos Alcaraz won Wimbledon and French Open, Sinner won Australian Open and US Open, and in this 2025 season so far, they won 3 titles together. Sinner won Australian Open and Wimbledon, and Carlos Alcaraz has won the French Open. So now they have won the last 7 Grand Slam titles together. And this video is going to be about, will they win? This is a big challenge, all right? And I'm going to challenge you guys as well, and I'm going to challenge myself as well, all right? So, will they win the 7 upcoming Grand Slam titles together, as they won the last 7 Grand Slam titles behind them? So, will they be able to win 14 consecutive Grand Slam titles together? All right, guys, let's get the teeth into this question. Let's get the teeth into this challenge. Let's analyze this question. Right. Before I get and give my answer and reveal my answer, I'm going to talk about first how big this is, that they won 7 Grand Slam titles together. I don't know if you guys know this or not. If not, you will know that now by me. Last time 2 players won this many Grand Slam titles together, I'm talking about 2 players, not 3, right? Because I'm not talking about 3. Because if we take another person in the count, then the number will be higher than I will mention now. I'm talking about 2 players now. Like we have in the Alcaraz and Sinner case. There are 2 that have won 7 Grand Slam titles together, and that they have won the last 7 Grand Slams. So last time this kind of thing happened was actually very, very long time ago. All right? And it was back in 2005 until 2007. So we are talking about 18, 20 years ago. Last time this happened, where 2 players won this many Grand Slam titles together consecutively, I'm talking about now consecutively, in a row, was actually Federer and Nadal. Yeah. It was back in 2005 where Nadal won his first Grand Slam title at French Open. And then they continued winning. And we all know that Federer won then Wimbledon and US Open the same year, 2005. And then 2006, we know Federer won Australian Open and Nadal won French Open. And then Federer won Wimbledon and Federer won US Open. And then 2007, Federer won Australian Open, Nadal won French Open, Federer won Wimbledon, and Federer won US Open. Right? If you count this, which all these titles that those 2 giants and legends of the game have won consecutively, that makes it to 11. Right? So last time somebody won this many Grand Slams, even more, was Nadal and Federer, 2005, 2006, and 2007. 3 in 2005, 4 in 2006, 4 in 2007. That makes it to 11 Grand Slam titles consecutively that 2 players have won. All right. And then we all know that the player who stopped this streak was Novak Djokovic back in 2008 when he won the Australian Open 2008. Novak Djokovic. Actually, if you look, if Novak would not have won that title, we all know that both Federer and Nadal was in the semifinals in that 2008 Australian Open edition, but both lost in the semifinals. Federer lost against Djokovic, Nadal lost against Tsonga. Actually, both of those 2 players were the favorites to win those semifinals, but they didn't. It is not always that the favorites win their matches, like we all know. Majority of the times they do, but not always. All right. if Djokovic had not won that 2008 Australian Open title, these two dudes would have gone and win 17 Grand Slam titles consecutively. Because after that 2008 Australian Open title that Djokovic won, now Federer and Nadal kept on winning 6 Grand Slam titles together. Until Juan Martin Del Potro stopped that streak in the 2009 US Open. The same year, 2008, Nadal won French Open, then Nadal won Wimbledon, then Federer won US Open. There we have 3. And then in the 2009 year, Nadal won Australian Open, Federer won French Open, and Federer won Wimbledon. There we have 6 Grand Slam titles consecutively that Federer and Nadal won. And then we all know that Del Potro won the US Open 2009. And after that, Federer and Nadal actually kept on winning another 4 consecutive Grand Slam titles together, which was Federer won the Australian Open 2010 and Nadal won the French Open 2010, won the Wimbledon 2010, and won US Open 2010. So that makes it to 4 consecutive Grand Slam titles together that Federer and Nadal won in that 2010 season. And then, of course, we all know that what happened from 2011 and forward. Novak Djokovic became a beast and stopped those 2 guys' domination. So, my point is that last time we saw 2 players dominate tennis like Sinner and Alcaraz are doing, even more actually, was back in 2005, 2007, where Federer and Nadal won 11 Grand Slam titles consecutively. And after that, they won 6 Grand Slam titles consecutively, after Djokovic won the Australian Open 2008, and after Del Potro won the US Open 2009, Federer and Nadal won 4 Grand Slam titles consecutively. But we have not seen a streak where 2 players has won 7 Grand Slam titles consecutively since the 2005-2007 tennis seasons between Federer and Nadal. They did it even better with 11 consecutively Grand Slam titles winning together. So this streak between Sinner and Alcaraz is the best in 18 years. My tennis fans all around the world. So, for this streak to be ended, somebody needs to come up on the scene. Somebody needs to join them as a big force. Somebody needs to challenge them, a la Djokovic. We all know that when Federer and Nadal, when they dominated tennis, Djokovic came in and he crashed the party. He became the big 3 member. And that's why we called them so many years the big 3. Then for some years we started to call them also the big 4 when Murray came into and he wanted to be in that big league. And he was in that big league for a couple of years. But of course, Murray is not even as near as good as a tennis player like the big 3 are, Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal. So he couldn't hang in with those 3 big guns for many, many years. But for a couple of years, he was able to do that. Now, we have the big 2, Sinner and Alcaraz. Like we all know, they have dominated tennis for 1.5 years now, since the 2024 Australian Open until now. And we have US Open ahead of us. And who will challenge these 2? Who will be able to challenge these 2? Will somebody get into the mix and stop their Grand Slam winning streak? I can't see somebody doing it. I don't see somebody doing it. Their biggest challenge, to be quite honest, Sinner's and Alcaraz's biggest challenge is their own health. It is their own health. It is not any tennis player. We have talked, I've done a couple of videos about the 90-born tennis players, the so-called the lost generation. You know who those guys are. I will not even mention their names. Will some of them stop this Alcaraz Sinner era? Will some of them stop this Sinner Alcaraz domination? Will some of them get into the mix like Djokovic did that with Federer and Nadal back in the days? I don't think so. I don't think so. Absolutely not one of the 90-born players. Now, the 90-born players have had very, very difficulties in making big noise in the tennis scene. We have only 2 Grand Slam winners from that generation, Dominic Thiem and Daniel Medvedev. Both have won the US Open, one time each. And I don't see some of them winning a 3rd Grand Slam title for the players that were born in the 90s. The player who's the closest to doing it is, of course, Alexander Sasha Zverev, who is still going strong from the players of the 90s. He's still not faded away. So he played, he has 3 Grand Slam finals. He has lost all 3 of them. But he still is a player that you cannot count out completely, like you can do with Tsitsipas, like you can do with Medvedev, like you can do with Berrettini, Kyrgios, Casper Ruud, Rublev, Fritz. Yeah, Fritz. I know he was he was in the US Open final last year, 2024, but was close to winning it. No. He lost in straight sets against Jannik Sinner. So Taylor Fritz is, of course, not a player that who will break into this big 2 and make it to a big 3 member, like Djokovic did with Federer and Nadal back in the days. So forget the players that are born in the 90s, all right? They will not challenge these big 2, Sinner and Alcaraz. And the other players, like, they are not born in the 90s, say Fils, Ben Shelton, Tommy Paul. He's also born in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. He's also from that lost generation. Anyway, so Fils is not born in the 90s, but I know Ben Shelton is not born in the 90s. They are too inconsistent for me to believe and to be high on them that they will be able to get himself into this mix with Sinner and Alcaraz and be challenging for the majors. So I don't think they will do that, not yet at least. Maybe in the future, especially Fils. He's a very, very huge hitter. Not Ben Shelton. I'm not super high on Ben Shelton. I don't like his back and I don't like his returns. They are awful. Anyway, so, and we're a player like Joe Fonseca, who's very, very hyped. He's still very, very young. I believe he's 18 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So you don't know what he will bring to the table a couple of years, because we didn't expect Djokovic to become that beast back in 2005, 2006, 2007. All right. Now, neither of us expected that. I'm pretty confident about that, to say that. Same thing with Sinner. We didn't expect Sinner back in 2022, 2023 that he will become the beast he is today. So you never know how players develop and which kind of a direction their career take and which kind of a trajectory their career take. But as it stands for now, I'm not seeing any big signs on Shelton and Fils that they will do huge noises in the future, especially not Shelton. And then we have Holger Rune, who thought that he will be one of the big 3 members together with Sinner and Alcaraz, but unfortunately for him, he thought wrong. So far, he has not made any huge noises in his career. He doesn't have even 1 Grand Slam semi-final. So, it doesn't look for me that we will have at the current moment a player who will challenge these two. No, we don't have that. This is facts. You don't need to be any Einstein to figure this out. And that's why these two players, Sinner and Alcaraz, has won the last 7 Grand Slam titles together. And this will only continue if they're healthy. I can't see someone taking these two both out. As it stands for now, for someone to win a Grand Slam title outside of these two, you most likely need to defeat both of them. You will not have the lecture, you will not have the pleasure to avoid both of them, because I can see that both of them will lose before a Grand Slam final. One of them, absolutely. Like at the Australian Open earlier this year, Alcaraz lost in quarterfinal against Djokovic. Sinner didn't do that. Sinner made it to the whole way to the final, and in that final defeated Zverev. The same thing last year at the US Open, 1 year ago, Alcaraz lost in the second round against a Dutch player who has an unbelievable difficult name. His second round, Alcaraz lost, like we remember last year at the US Open. Sinner didn't do that. Sinner made it to the whole way to the final and defeats Taylor Fritz in that US Open final 2024 in straight sets. So, for both of them to lose before the finals, I don't think will happen in the near coming future. One of them, absolutely, like Sinner lost last year at Wimbledon quarterfinal against Medvedev, but Alcaraz didn't do that. So, for someone to win a Grand Slam title, at the current moment, he needs to most likely beat both of them. All right, most likely. And if not both of them, some of them can be upset, like we saw with Alcaraz earlier this year at the Australian Open, like we saw with Alcaraz last year at the US Open, and like we saw with Sinner last year at Wimbledon. But you need to at least beat one of them. One of them you need to beat. Medvedev couldn't beat Sinner in Australian Open 2024, even though he was 2 sets to love up. Djokovic couldn't beat Carlos Alcaraz in that Wimbledon final last year, 2024. Taylor Fritz couldn't beat Jannik Sinner in the last year's US Open 2024. Alexander Sasha Zverev couldn't beat Carlos Alcaraz in last year's French Open final 2024. And Alexander Sasha Zverev couldn't beat Jannik Sinner in this year's Australian Open final 2025. So, you see how difficult it is to win a major with these two around? Because even if one of them, of course, can be upset and will be upset, they will not continue facing each other in every single Grand Slam final. We have had 2 consecutive Grand Slam finals between these two, Sinner and Alcaraz, French Open final and Wimbledon final. I'm not super confident that they will face each other for the 3rd consecutive Grand Slam final at the US Open in a couple of weeks. Absolutely not. But I'm super confident that one of them will be in that final. Super confident about that. And most likely that player will be Jannik Sinner. Because Jannik Sinner, after all, has won 3 Grand Slam titles on hard courts. Carlos has won only 1 Grand Slam title on hard court, which was the US Open 2022, 3 years ago. Matter of fact, Carlos has actually only 1 Grand Slam final on hard courts, which was the same Grand Slam that he won back in 2022 US Open. He doesn't have another Grand Slam final in Grand Slams on hard courts. So, Sinner is a much more backable player on hard courts than what Carlos Alcaraz is. So, even if Carlos gets upset at the US Open later this year, in a couple of weeks, before the final, it is very unlikely that Sinner will do. So my conclusion about this, will they win? Will they be able to win another 7 more Grand Slam titles together and make it to 14? I will say yes. Now, if it doesn't happen, it will be only if they both are injured. if they both are injured and they will have injuries and will not come into those Grand Slams super fit, then both of them can get upset before the finals. But if they both are healthy, I really can see that both of them will lose before a Grand Slam final. One of them, absolutely. Both of them, no. At least until the 2027 French Open. So for them to win another 7 more Grand Slam titles together, they need to win Grand Slams until 2027 French Open. So there you have my they will definitely beat the Federer-Nadal record 18-20 years ago with 11 Grand Slam titles winning together. I completely am confident about that. But I'm not as confident that they will win 14 Grand Slam titles in a row. No, not as confident that I am that they will beat the Federer-Nadal record from 2005 and 2007 in winning 11 Grand Slam titles consecutively in a row. That I'm more confident about. But to win 14, to win another 7 Grand Slam titles together, I'm not as confident, but I am 60% confident about that. 60%, I will say 60%, not more than so, because everything can happen in tennis. They can get injured, both of them. And you never know a player who is 16, 17 years old from now, or 17, and in 2 years he can be a force to count with. So you never know. But I will say 60% that they will win 7 more Grand Slam titles together. 60%, not more than so. But to win 4 more Grand Slam titles together, Sinner and Alcaraz, and equal that Federer-Nadal record from 2005 to 2007, I am 80% confident that they will do that. 80%. And even break that record. Not only equal with 11, even break it with 12. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.